I have been getting asks about, this is what I said. Damn, I'm just realizing I could have easily gone into sex trafficking during my trip to India. Might make a video about it in the future. Nonetheless, when you are young and adult, 18, you have to be careful and do only what feels right. That age is not the time to be thinking you are above all dangerous people. Life is simple and people do act like how you expect, and if not, something's wrong. So, talking about my trip that I went to India when I was 18 and now I'm 22. So, that's going to be the subject of this particular video. I just think a lot of people should maybe know about this, even though it doesn't affect me day to day, but I do think about it sometimes, like when I'm scrolling through YouTube and there's literally a bunch of videos of people like almost taken into sex trafficking, and I ended up watching like 10 of them, and there's just so many, like there's so many of them. So that got me thinking like, wow, I feel like that low-key has happened to me. So I don't know, I've put it behind me, so I have like no serious like charges pending or anything, which doesn't mean I might not do that for the future, because I might plan to visit that place again, like the country, India, because it's interesting. It's actually like a really crazy place, and I wouldn't like never go there again, but I would go there with like some super strong guys and like and find the people who like were the bad people and like have them beat them up or something. But in reality, I wouldn't do that. I would do it like the right way, I guess. I don't know, like through laws and stuff. So maybe like fake my way in there and act like a little girl or something. I don't know. But anyways, this is kind of a serious video. So how it started. I don't know if it was as intense as to be sex trafficked, because I don't think it was exactly on that subject. It was just like, it was just crazy and weird. So it's a really long story too, and I'm gonna have to try to remember everything and like backtrack a million times and stuff. It's gonna be confusing. So, okay. So this started as a trip. I was 18 and I was like, I was out of high school basically for a little bit, and I was like traveling and road tripping with like a bunch of people. And then I was like, oh, I want to do something with my life. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to yoga school, because I was like super spiritual and like basically a person easily able to be taken advantage of, because I believed like everybody was there to like love you, and like I was naive enough to be like, wow, I love everybody, and you know, no one can hurt me, and I forgive everybody, and I want to heal everyone and fix the world and blah blah blah. So I thought, you know, nothing could happen to me. So I like told my parents. I don't remember at all the time and place, but I told them. And then I had to ask my aunt for the money for like the plane ticket on the yoga course, because I was gonna do like a yoga training course. It's Kundalini yoga, which was what I was into at the time. And I wanted to do like a teacher training, but I wanted to do it more just like for the experience and stuff. Like, oh, I went to India and studied yoga for a month. Like, wow, I'm such a yogi. So I texted my aunt, and she was like, first like, oh, okay, is this what you want to do? Like, how are you gonna make money with this? You know, because she's like wanting me to spend the money, right? I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do, like blah blah blah. So it was like $5,000. So I got $5,000. Like was working at the time, so I saved up some money for like just like to live there and stuff, like to just buy like trinkets and fun things, because I already like had enough money for like accommodation, and like it included everything, like food and everything. So so I got the okay for that. I think I found this course in like February or something, which was literally the month of my birthday. Bless you. And this was in 2015. Yeah, no, so this is like 3 years ago, almost 4 years. 4 years. This is pretty much 4 years ago. 4 freaking years ago. So, yeah, I booked my plane ticket, and the catch was I was going alone, and I was literally 18 years old. I was to be turning 19 that month. That, like, literally, my birthday was during the time I was there. Like, my birthday was at the ashram, which is like an ashram is like a spiritual place where they have like a swami or a yogi who like runs the place, and it's just like a bunch of rooms. It's a bunch of rooms in like a huge, it looks like a freaking mansion. It's like, but it's like really small, like very simple rooms with like freaking, you have to heat up the water, and India's very like insanely poor, so everything is like the minimal. Nonetheless, the weather there is really nice, so it was kind of vacation-y. So yeah, I was going alone. No one went with me. Nobody wanted to go with me. I just was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. Like, I don't know. I had a boyfriend at the time. His life was not together enough to go with me. My parents were like very, they let me basically do whatever I wanted. Like, they were the opposite of strict. They like literally let me do whatever I wanted. Like, I got all these piercings and like a bunch more on my nose that I don't wear anymore from my parents when I was like 16. They like signed off all these papers for me to get it done. Like, every time I would go to the piercing shop, I was like, oh, I want a new piercing. They're like, okay. Like, my mom's from like Eastern Europe. They're both European. They're both like immigrants. And they both like, I don't know. I guess, I don't know. They were just very non-strict, and I could do whatever I wanted. And everybody in my neighborhood, I remember, their parents were always like, you have to be out, you have to be in before dark, or we need the parents watching you, blah, blah, blah. My mom didn't give a fuck. I could literally go as like wherever I wanted. Even I could be all gone all night. She wouldn't even care. She wouldn't throw a fish. She would like be like, oh, like text me once in a while. Or I remember she didn't even know how to text back then though. So I was like, yeah. Anyways. So yeah, I had a lot of freedom. So after letting me go to India alone at 18, which first off is a red sign. And if you're watching this and you're literally like young AF, like, do not travel to a country alone. It is literally the worst idea you can do. Like, it's not even fun. I didn't even have fun at points because I was alone and like not very good at making friends. I mean, like, it's just different. Like, just don't go alone. Go with someone like who literally you trust like a good amount, like you've known them for a long time. It's not like something to take lightly. Especially as a girl at that young of age, like, you have to think of the worst like thing that could happen. Like Kevin Spacey, like, he's being accused of all this stuff right now. Like, you have to imagine everybody's like that. Like, that's what I learned from this experience, I guess. Like, I am the opposite of like a spiritual person like that now, because that shit fucked me up and was dangerous. So do not fall into that hippy dippy stuff. Anyways, so I got the plane ticket. What I do, I got ready, blah, blah, blah. I have a picture of me in the airport that day. I'll post it, put it right there. I went on the plane alone. It was such a long flight. It was like 14 or 16 hours or something. I was like the most shy person on the planet at the time, like the most shy person on the planet. Like, thinking of talking to people made me want to die. Like, I was in a cocoon. So I don't even know why I made myself do that. Like, go to India and study yoga, because yoga was spiritual. And I was like, oh, I'm going to learn so much. And I did. It was fun. I did. But the point of this is not that it was fun. The point of the story is that it was dangerous. So so I get to India. I'm actually walking around the airport. I see this girl. I see her from airport to airport, and I started seeing her at LAX. So then when we got to India, I actually saw her, and like we ended up like sticking together for that whole time until we had to split, and I had to go to where I was going. She was going to where she was going, but we like spent the night there and stuff. So that was really good. That was really lucky. Someone was watching over me at that moment in time, even though God literally ditched me later on. But, you know, he was watching me at that point. So when I get to India, me and this girl, she's Hawaiian, you know, she was like she's older than me. She had her shit together, sort of. Not really, but we were both like, and I had like, so in India, everything is like super sketchy and super it's so hard to make any travel arrangements. It's just like, you never, like I made travel arrangements from my computer, from my house. I have no idea what I'm actually going to, because like 80% of stuff in India is a scam. 80% of it is a scam. So also being 18 and going into that is another story. But even if it's a scam, everything there is like dirt cheap. So even if you do get scammed, you're literally still paying less than you would here for anything. So it's literally not a big deal. I don't even know why they call it scamming, but it's like, whatever. Anyways, so I had this set up to this hotel, and like they ended up thinking I was there the wrong day. So they didn't show up, and I was like, oh my God, I'm like stranded. Like, what the heck do I do? And this girl was with me too, and she like totally didn't know what to do either. Like, her plans didn't fall through too, or something like that. So I was emailing these people, and they're like, oh, we'll get you a cab coming. And like, I had to like scram to get internet and like find passwords. And it was just like so like real. And like, I had to do all this stuff to survive. Like I had no other choice. So yeah, I was scrambling to do that, and they ended up sending like a taxi. They later told me that they sent a taxi and I wasn't there and stuff. And like I hopped into the wrong taxi, and they told me I got scammed and all this stuff. And I was like, wow, I'm pissed. I want a refund, because I had paid online for the stuff, and like they didn't give me a refund or something. So me and this girl, we find a random taxi, and they're like, you know, the people who scam you, they're like, they see that you're a white person and they see you're a tourist, and they go right up to, because most of the people in the airport are Indian, to be honest. Most of them are Indian. So this is in the city, New Delhi, by the way. So they run up to you, and they're like, oh, you want a taxi, we'll take you to the hotel or whatever. And then, you know, we like denied a couple of people, I think, and we were still like getting our, like, she was trying to make phone calls. Like, I didn't have a phone that was working because it's a new freaking country. And like, so I don't know what we ended up doing, but we ended up going with this one taxi person. Like, we were comparing prices, and they really just like weren't that different. So we ended up going with this one guy. The price was astronomical, apparently. I don't even remember. It was like 1,400 rupees or something, which is like, I don't even know how much that is. Maybe like $15 or something. So we ended up going with them, and me and her together. I was terrified this whole time. I was like scared. I was really scared. I was scared. Because I was like, okay, anything can happen in this car. Like, the second I arrived there to India, I was like, wow, I could die any second. Like, it was not fun at all. But having her there was cool. And I tried to be excited, but you could probably tell I was scared out of my soul. So yeah, so by the way, we got there at like, it was like 2 a.m. or something. It was literally the middle of the night to top it all off. I don't even know why I did that. I think it was like the cheapest flight or something stupid like that. So don't get the cheapest flight. Don't do that. Do something that makes sense and plan it out. Like, I don't know. And if you don't want to do any of those plans, just don't even go to the trip and scratch it and do something that's easy. Like, stick to easy stuff. Especially when you're 18, stick to easy stuff. Do not do anything that you think is cool or revolutionary. And if you want to, you'll die doing it maybe, and you think that's okay, then okay, that's cool. But me at this age, with that experience, I could have gone without it. Like, I didn't need it. I could have literally gone without it. And waited till I was literally older and more mature to have an actually okay experience. like a normal person. So we're driving in the middle of the night, and we drive to this, and we're just driving in the middle of the night in the streets of India. I was like, wow, this is crazy. Where am I? I'm like sitting in this truck, and like this girl's with me, and we're just like looking around like, oh my God. And I remember I was using like WhatsApp and stuff, and she was all on her WhatsApp, and like I added her and stuff. So we like had each other's things just in case. So we go to this one hotel, and the guy says, oh, we're booked. So the taxi had to take us somewhere else. And they're like, okay. So we go to this other place, and it's just like, it's so crappy. They're like, the air smells weird. I was just like, I did not feel good. I was just like, I don't even want to be anywhere right now. I didn't even want to be in my body. So anyways, we get to this one hotel. It's the middle of the night. There's someone there, like 2 guys there. This hotel was actually, I don't think it was bad. I think it was okay, but I was like still really scared. Like, what the hell is going on? Because like they're like really weird, but like they like jump at you and they approach you in that way. Like most of the people in India, they like scare the shit out of you if you're not prepared. Like that's their tactic, to like jump right at you to where you can't say no, or like, I don't know, it's weird. So we went to this hotel, and they told us the price, blah, whatever. I was like, I do not care about the price. I have how many ever rupees I have in my wallet. I was prepared. I had like a certain amount. I had a few thousand, you know, I had enough. So I was like, okay, let's do it. And she had enough. So we were like, okay, let's split this. So we split the hotel room. It ended up being like a bunch of rupees. I was like, damn. But like, so they take us to the hotel room. They take all our luggage. We go up the elevator. We say bye to the taxi guys. We pay them and stuff. Like, and I think she like tipped them or something, or something. I don't know. She's like, you have to do this in India. No, wait, there's no tips in India. So I don't know what happened. But yeah, we go on the elevator. They take us to our room. We get there. And I'm like, damn, we're like, we got to figure this out. So we're like, okay, let's get some rest. So when we wake up in the morning, we can like get a new phone and like try to like call the places that we need to go, because we need to get transportation from this hotel to where we're going. I know she was going to some yoga thing too, but it was in another city that I was going to. I was going to like a different city called Rishikesh. She was going to something called like with a V or something. So we had to just like get phone numbers and call the numbers that we have to like find out how to get out of there and like find the best way to do it. So yeah, we go to bed. I try Indian food in the hotel. They serve Indian food to us. And I'm like, oh, I hope I don't get sick. And like she had some carrots, we had some carrots. So like, I don't know, I just ate the food and I was like, okay, this tasted really weird, and my stomach kind of bothered me. And then I went to bed. I was so nervous. I was thinking like, why am I here? Am I gonna die? I miss my boyfriend. What am I doing? So after that hellish night, we go in the morning. The guys are really nice. They are on their computer. They're like helping us find stuff, I think. So they like, okay, so then yeah, I don't know, something happened there. And it was getting sunnier, so we went outside and like we started going into the city. This is New Delhi. We were going to the city, and like, oh my God, this video is gonna be way too long. I'm not even close. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be such a long video. So, okay, so blah, blah, we're walking to the city. We go to like 3 different stores, and we finally buy a cell phone. And then there's such a confusing thing with like chip cards and stuff. So we get like a chip card or something to like, I don't know, make something work or something. Oh, I think we put like these chip cards in our actual phones or something. But we had to, I don't know, we had to end up getting like an Indian phone. I don't even know. But so we got that going. I remember it was like really hard to make mine work. Like, I don't even know if I got it working until like a day later. Like, it just wouldn't work and stuff. So I don't know. I think I ended up borrowing people's phones and stuff till I eventually got it. So, and then I think we decided to, after that, we decided to go like shopping. So we took like this, like the metro train or something. And like there's had a girls section and they had a guy section, like in like the sections of the train. So it was like a subway. So I think we took that and we went to this, like, I forget what they call it. They call there's these cheap markets, and they call them something, and they just like sell a bunch of stuff that's literally like useless. But it's like, that's how they make their money, you know. So yeah, and when I was walking around, it was just like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I have those pictures anymore, to be honest, but I took a bunch of pictures like in the city, or like we were like a bunch of people were just like having fire pits literally in the middle of the street. Like it was just a whole, like not even in the middle of the street. Like I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a shopping center, or it's just like an alleyway. I don't even know what it is. I can't explain it. You just have to like immerse yourself. Like, okay, there was like a guy in a fire pit here, and there's his restaurant, and there's just like little buildings everywhere, and they each had like their own restaurant and their own food that they're cooking. I'm sitting on the ground and cooking and stuff. and they would like look at us, like everybody was staring at us. Every single person was staring at us so hard. And we even had people starting to follow us, just like for a short period of time, but they'd follow us and not even say anything. It was really weird. And then I took pictures and stuff, blah, blah, blah. We took some pictures together. I don't know if I can find it, if I can go through my old WhatsApp, but I don't know if I can do that. I already tried to do that before, I feel like. And so, yeah, I remember just seeing the city, and there was like, it was really ugly, and there's poop everywhere. And I'm sorry, you're really ugly and horrible, but that's what I saw of New Delhi, because we were like in, I guess it was like a totally shitty part, maybe, I don't know. So, okay, so eventually, I don't know how we did it. I think like I ended up getting a taxi to my city. I don't even remember at all how I did that. Somehow I finessed a way to get to the city I needed to be in. And I remember it was very far away. It's like 6 hours drive or 7 hours drive. I didn't take the train at this point. I took the train way later. I'll get into that. Oh my God. So somehow I found a way, like they have travel agents there, and I guess I went to a travel agent and like I found a guy who will drive. I had to give him like I don't know what I had to give him, but like I gave him something and a bunch of money, and I was just like, okay, take me over here. So I guess I just sat in a taxi with some random taxi driver, which is also fucking scary because you never know what a taxi driver is going to do to you, because you're just you in the car with another person. So I was like, okay, fuck it. Like, what's gonna happen? I don't know, but I gotta get to where I gotta get, I guess. So I was just sitting in the taxi, and it was like such a long road trip, and I was staring at everything and how different everything was and taking pictures of everything. And there's literally like dogs in the middle of the street. There's like freaking cows in the middle of the street. There's no lanes, no lights. I don't even know what a lane or a light is there. Like, there's just cars. It's like a sea of cars. And I saw like one car accident. Of course, they're gonna hit each other. So I don't know. It's kind of like an organized chaos. There's literally just like, it's crazy, dude. It's like, it's so crazy. So, and everything there is like shit. Like everything there is like falling apart, literally. I saw some of like the corporate places, but it's still fucking sad to see. I saw like random hotels, like a random fancy hotel, literally in the middle of nowhere. It was the weirdest thing ever. It's like, why is that even there, dude? Like, what is going on? So, I ended up getting to Rishikesh somehow. Okay. And then like, I don't know, I was staying in an ashram, and somehow I got there and I was like, okay, I got my room. I had this roommate. I think she was like some Asian girl. Like, she was really nice though. She was nice. I was just like, cool. Okay. So, yeah, I got my room, and I think they ended up switching me rooms or something. Oh, because I got there early, so I had to order another room that wasn't part of the room that the yoga people, reserved for us, because I was there like a day early. So I remember I had that room, I put all my stuff, I burned incense, I was like, oh my God, I made it, I'm so happy, I'm so spiritual, I'm so excited to start this journey. So I looked up, there's like a yoga class, it's like early in the morning, so I brought my yoga mat, and I went to that yoga class. Don't remember going to the yoga class whatsoever. Maybe I think it was like in some other room or something. Now I'm remembering. I went to this yoga class. It was like a whole nother yoga school, but like I feel like I remember, yeah, they had I feel like they had some scandals there with some like rapist teacher or something. I don't know, something really weird. Like, I think I eventually heard that like every yoga school there has something like with a bad person or something. So I remember, yeah, I went to the yoga class. I was literally just walking around India. I was like around Luxmanjula, a place called Luxmanjula, Rishikesh, and I was like walking across the bridge, and then like I would go across the Ganges River, and I would like go to this nature place. It was like super quiet. And blah blah blah. I did all that, explored it. I remember I met this Swami guy when I was hanging out there. I think they called Swamis. They like dress in all orange, and they like live with no belongings, or I think no money too. They just like live by the thing. I was like, that's so dope. Like, that's totally cool. And like, this guy was so cool. He painted me a picture. I actually have it somewhere over there, but he was really sweet. And he like had this whole book of like him with like a bunch of like he makes friends with like a bunch of tourists, and he literally had it like a book, and he had pictures of every single person he met. And I remember he was obsessed with Obama. It was really funny and weird, but he loved Obama so much. Like he wanted to meet Obama. He wanted to go on a plane. And I think when I met him, he was about to go on the plane to the US, like to Texas or something, because it's like to see his parents or something. And like he was like, I want to meet Obama and stuff. So it was just so cute. I was like, oh my God. So yeah, he was just walking around, you know, I guess he lived, like they had this little area for them. Like it looked like a really hut place. It was really interesting, but I feel like that's where he stayed. But like every time I'd be walking around town, like when I didn't have class or something, I would like run into him, and then he would be like, he'd hit me up and be like, hey, and we'd like walk and talk, and he'd get me chai tea and stuff because he knew the guy and everybody liked him so much. So they just like, you know, gave him what he wanted. It was really cool. And then later on, he like I met this girl who had dreadlocks, and like she told me she had like a dog. She saw a dead dog off her balcony, and she was like super traumatized. Like it was like an attacked dog or something. I don't know. And I was like, oh my God. But she was very interesting. She was there with her boyfriend or something. But like, yeah, I was like, wow. And so yeah, he was really cool. So yeah, I would walk around, meet people. Eventually the yoga school started. We met people, I was meeting people, blah, blah, blah. We were in the class 4:30 a.m., although I would not be able to wake up that early sometimes. So I would get there a little later and skip it or something, but I still passed. Like I don't know. I had to like figure something out to pass. And we're supposed to take when you wake up, you're supposed to take a cold shower, like a cold ass shower at 4:30 in the morning. And it was the hardest thing ever, and I was not about it. So I only did that like once or twice. I was like, oh, I have to be spiritual. I have to do this. Oh my God, I'm gonna be so happy and spiritual. But like, no, that's not true. Don't fall for the spiritual trap. It's fun, but like, dude, don't do it. So yeah, we met the teachers, we'd meditate. Okay, so then I'm outside of town. I remember there's this one like place where they have events. It's like in Laxmanjula, and I remember not everybody, but some people were going to this event. His name is Muji. He's like this freaking crazy like spiritual guy who makes money off of this spiritual stuff, and it's really weird. And like I was so obsessed with him. I was like, oh my God, he's gonna be there. So like I went, and then a bunch of people from class went, and like we bought brownies, and it was fun. Not fun brownies, but just regular brownies. So I remember watching him, and like this lady was Asian, and like he would like meet some people and he'd answer their questions, but this Asian lady would like went up to him, and she literally started like confessing, like she's like, I'm in love with you, I love you so much. Like she started just confessing her love for him, and she started bawling in front of literally hundreds of people, and like bowing to him, and like trying to be like, marry me, marry me. She was like asking him to marry her, like very aggressively and very weird. Not aggressively, but she was just like, she was a mess. And I was like, what am I watching right now? And he was just like totally normal and kept saying like some freaking spiritual thing or something, and like totally just wrote off this crazy person. Like it's part of the show. I don't even know. It was so weird. Like, dude, spiritual people are weird. Like I was weird too. It was freaking weird. So that ended. Everybody was like dancing. That was fun. Like we would just like dance, you know, flow to the music. Grateful Dead, you know, you're cool, you got your long skirt, like you're a hippie, you're free, blah, 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 blah. So, and then we did that, and yeah, so then like, I don't know, we left or something, and then we had class. We had like a day off a week or something. Sometimes they'd give us a day off, but usually we had to go every day. So, and then on the days off, I'd like go shopping. But I remember I met this person, and he had like hashish. I don't even know who it was, but he just like gave me hashish. I was sitting down. I think I paid him like 5 rupees, which is literally nothing. It's like 2 cents. I was just like sitting down, and like, I don't know. So I had that. I don't even remember if I even smoked it or he smoked it. I don't remember. But it's like rolled up. It's like weed. It's rolled up, and it's like blue. It's black. I don't know. It's like resin or something. So, and then I remember I was in this city, I think it was Lakshmanjula or something, next to Rishikesh, and they had coffee there, they had everything. And I remember we had like no way to communicate to anybody. Like they had computers, but they were really slow, and like, I don't know. Anyways, that's how I would communicate to my boyfriend, like through WhatsApp. But so we went to this coffee shop. Oh yeah, I was like walking, this one guy like tried to catch my attention. And he was some Indian guy, and he told me he owned the shop or something. And I was like, okay, is he okay? Like, if someone would meet me, I'd be like, should I keep talking to you? And I just, like, I don't know, dude. I didn't know what I was doing. So, but he seemed to be chill. He was fine. Like, he was telling me, like, his parents owned the shop, but, like, gave it to him. Like, this shop is his life. He's like, yeah, you should come over one day. He kept telling me to come over, which is, like, I was like, no, but I'm not doing that. But it was funny. But, like, that's what I'm telling you. The people who mean to do like crazy stuff to you will plan it out to where you have no option to say no. Like they're so conniving and manipulating that they are going to make you do it somehow. So that's how, like, that's just what I just realized. So this guy, you know, he just kept inviting me. I was like, oh no, like maybe later, you know, blah, blah, you know, but he was just cool. And we talk about stuff, and like I'd teach him some English words or something. And like, you know, he was cool. He'd like, you know, I don't know, I was looking for something in his shop. I think I was looking for tea tree oil. That's how I got there. So, because I got like a stain on my white thing, because everything for Kundalini yoga is white. So, yeah, he was interesting. So every time I'd walk by, he'd be like, oh my God, hi. And I'd be like, hi. And we'd talk for a little bit. So, okay, so down that road even more, there's more shopping. And this, okay, so I remember walking down this road, and then this guy comes up to me, and he's like, oh my God, I really like your bracelet. Like, that's such a cool bracelet. And I'm like, oh, thank you. Like, I just, like, my friend got this for me. Like, it means, like, I was like, oh, this was like a symbol to a friend. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. Okay, thanks. And then he was like, oh, you know, like, that's very pretty. You should come in and see what I have. Like, I have a bunch of cool stuff, like, blah, blah. Somehow he was like, no, make it okay. Like, come. And I was like, okay. Like, you know, people are doing that all the time to you. But the way he came up to me, he was like, oh, can I see your bracelet? Or I really like your bracelet. And I felt like, wow, he's nice. He's very nice. Like, who wouldn't do something if a person's nice and you're 18 years old and he likes your bracelet and you're like, okay, let me check out this guy's shop. There's actually many steps I probably went wrong. But just this, wow, okay. So I went into this freaking shop, and like, he had a bunch of freaking like jewelry and diamonds, like literally diamonds, like rose pinky diamonds, and like, you know, just diamonds and a bunch of jewelry and like a bunch of stones. Like I remember he had like black onyx is that how you say it? It's like a stone. I remember he gifted me that. He gifted me like this black ring, and I cleansed it or whatever, and I was convinced it had evil in it, so I like got rid of it. So and then he gave me like, I told him about my parents, and then he gave me this like real like bunny hair, like sheep's bunny, like a bunny, cashmere is a huge thing in India. It's like a bunny made up from a bunny, and it was real, because like I don't know how I got hold of all this nice stuff, and I was like, okay, like thanks. And then I think he like randomly convinced me to buy it, like, oh, it's a gift for your mother, like buy it. And I was like, okay, somehow after like minutes of convincing, and then like he showed me all these pictures, and I remember it was like a picture of an elephant, and he like gifted me one of those too. It was like a drawing or something. And then I remember he had this other friend who came out, and I was like, damn, what the fuck? Like, this is, I don't know. It was like totally planned out. Like it was planned out. Like, they got the bait, which was me, and I was like there, and I was like buying stuff, and I was like, oh, cool. And then he started telling me that he has this like this guy who approached me, he's like, I have this huge farm and like wherever. I'm like, oh, like in my head, I'm like, oh, is that where you take like is that like your secret freaking place where you like fucking kill people and stuff? Like, it was weird to me, because he's like, I have this whole farm. It was my parents. It's huge. Oh, I'll take you there one day. I've taken so many people there. I'm like, what? Okay, why are you telling me that? I'm like, I'm never going to do this, but okay. So I had some sense in me. Like, okay, I had some. So then his friend takes me in this room and he's like, oh my God, here comes the spiritual gimmick stuff, dude. Because I had dreadlocks, dude. I was decked out. Okay. So he like takes me in this room and he's like, I have this freaking rose quartz. Like, it's like this quartz. And he's like held it in my hand and he made me do this like weird meditation and stuff. And I was like, okay, I was just going through it. I was like, okay. I started getting weird freaking vibes at that time. And I just was like, what the hell, dude? And I was like, okay, yeah, that's cool, whatever. So then because he like closed the door. And so then he opened it again. It was like still in a shop. So I went out and then he like wrung me out or some shit like for the stuff I bought. And then somehow he started saying like, oh, dude, I want to get this guy in trouble. Okay, so he was like, oh, I have diamonds and jewelry. He was running some illegal business because he wanted me to bring jewelry from there or something to California. Or like when I get to California, he had a guy and he wanted me to like send jewelry to India or something like that. Some kind of jewelry or diamonds he wanted to sell that was totally illegal and black marketed. And he told me he paid me like $5,000 to do it. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that in my head. But I was like, oh, okay, like $5,000. But I was like, I'm not doing that. Like, what the heck? Like, what the heck? Like, I should leave already. Like, what am I doing there? So, but, you know, I was going with the flow, you know, I didn't want to, you know, I don't know, it was stupid. So I stayed there and he was like, and so I guess I was like debating of doing it because I was like, oh my God, that's $5,000. But I was like, I'm totally not going to do it. But like, I kind of wanted to leave, but for some reason he like convinced me to literally, oh my God, I don't even know. He convinced me to give me his passport, to give him my passport. So I literally gave him my passport and he literally made a copy of it with his copy machine. And he had this book and he literally showed me like a bunch of these people who had copies of their passport. And he literally showed me their passports and was like, look at all these people who are doing it for me. Like, it's legit. Like, do it, you know, like, it's fine. You'll be fine, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what the heck? Didn't think anything of it. Oh, it's my birthday tomorrow. Because I said it was my birthday. This was the 21st. My birthday is the 22nd. So they're like, oh my gosh, let's celebrate, you know? And like alcohol is not a thing that you have in India at all. Like nobody drinks alcohol there. I think it's illegal or something. So they were like, let's get some beers and stuff. And I was like, aren't you guys not supposed to drink? And like, they're like, no, we go like out of town and we go get the beers and stuff. So literally, I was hanging out with these people. It was horrible. And oh my God, I hate talking about this. And so, you know, we were going on the scooter. Wow, it was super fun, whatever. Like, they had a white girl on the back of their scooter going super fast through the city. Like, wow, what a freaking stunt. Like, it was horrible. So this happened later. I think earlier, he actually was like, oh, let me show you around in the forest because nobody, like you know, blah, blah, we'll. So I was like, okay. So, like, he took me on a scooter and we went through traveling through like the 2-lane highway to like the jungle. It's a jungle technically there, like the tip of the Himalayan mountains, like just the entrance there through Rishikesh. So we were like driving through there and stuff. And like, I remember, I think he took me to this like cave where this yogi meditated for like years and years and years for like his whole life. And he died there or something. It was like this, just like this touristy place. And then I remember we like smoked hashish on the river and then like, I think that was it. And then he got in trouble with the police for not wearing a helmet. And then we got food. They got me food or something. So then we went back and it was nighttime and that's when they got the beers. And then they both of them, they took me to this apartment and they were showing me all these pictures of all these people that had passports, like their copies of their passport. And I was like, wow, they're literally doing criminal stuff, like in the back of my head. So yeah, that was happening. And I was just like, at this point, too terrified to literally leave because I didn't know what to say. I literally didn't know where I was. I was just so young and naive, dude. Like, I couldn't make these decisions for myself. I was naive. Like, let me just get that down. So then after that, they're like, oh, you know, let's stay at our place, or let's just go and have some food and have some beers and hang out. Like, I'll cook a traditional Indian meal. And I was like, I don't want to do that. Like, it's late. I want to go home. Didn't listen to me. And I think somehow they convinced me to go. Like, it's your birthday, you know. So they drive me there. It's the middle of the night. I don't know where I am. I do not remember the directions of where I'm going. Okay, so I'm on the scooter. Then we get there. It's this like really weird neighborhood. It's just a very crap. It's like a shed. I don't even know what it is. It's like a concrete shed. It looks like a jail cell. Okay, so people live in these jail cells. So I go in there and they like start getting me super drunk, getting me super high, giving me a bunch of beer and alcohol, and he kept literally forcing me to drink. I was like, I don't want to drink anymore. And they're like, no, have some. And like, I was like, okay, whoa, like I can't say no. Like, what the fuck is he gonna do to me? So kept drinking and stuff. And then they were making food and I was eating, and then they made me spend the night. I feel like they had a whole plan going on. I don't even know, of like criminal activity. I don't even know, dude. I literally don't know. Because his friend, okay, so then I don't know how it ended up happening. I honestly don't even, they got me, it was like, okay. They got me extremely drunk, extremely high. So I was crossfaded, I guess, whatever. That's what they call it. And so somehow I was like, I kept saying, I remember, I want to go home. I want to go home. Like, I want to leave. And they were like, no. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, what do I do? So I had to like stay there. I was like, just take me home right now. I have to, like, my birthday's over. I have to go. Like, I have to go to my ashram. I have class tomorrow. Like, what the fuck? They didn't listen to me. So I had to end up sleeping there. So I was literally sleeping there. That's when this guy tries to fucking touch me when I'm sleeping. His friend. So it was just a horrible experience. And I was just pretending I was sleeping, which is super fucking traumatic. And I hope none of you guys have to do this, but most girls in their lifetime have to go through an experience like this. I'm just saying it happens to everybody and it's shitty as fuck. Unless you're careful and you don't like travel alone the country. Anyways, so I was literally terrified and I was laying down and I was like, oh my God, of course, this is my life. Like, this is happening. Like, great. I'm 18. I'm like, I'm 18, I traveled alone, like, this is what I get, like, wow, I'm an idiot, like, what am I, like, oh my gosh, like, this, like, I wasn't too surprised. I was like, okay, well, what am I gonna do? So, I remember, oh my God, so I was laying down, and then I was like, okay, so I was literally gut-wrenching. I didn't even go to sleep. I was like, I think it was like 4 hours or something. I was like debating how I can get out of there, like, safely, like, without, like, my goal was to get out of there with nobody waking up because they wouldn't let me leave. And I'm like, they're gonna do something. These guys are already dangerous. Like, they don't listen to what I say. They don't care. Like, they're criminals. They don't care what I say. So I'm like, okay, like, how am I gonna get out of this? Fine. It's the middle of the night, okay? I'm laying awake for like 4 hours, pretending I'm asleep the entire time. My body starts tingling at certain places because it's so tired of sitting like in the same spot and not moving. Like, I wasn't getting circulation. It was just like super stressful and hellish. So I was like, holy shit. And I think there was 2 guys in that bed or something. The other guy was like sleeping somewhere. I don't know. But so I was like, I have to do this. Like, I have to do this for my family. Like, what are they gonna think? Like, I have to get out of here. And like I was like, oh God, I have to talk to my mom. I have to text my boyfriend. Like, I have to do something. Like, I can't just freaking stay here. So I started like moving a little bit and I was like, okay, I have to do it. So I was slowly getting up and I was like, okay. So I was like, oh my God, it was like a cycle of trauma. Like, I was like, okay, I was looking at the door. I was like, okay, how can I get out of here? Like, oh my God, the door's right there. Like, I was like, how do I open the door? Like, oh my God, I was tripping. I was like, how do I open the door? I literally didn't, like, I was like, how do I open the door? Like, that's how bad it was. So it's literally like, it had like a weird latch, and I was like afraid that they locked the door. Like, I didn't know if they locked the door. That was the thing. So I was like, damn, dude, like, this is gonna suck. But I was like, I hope they didn't like put a padlock or something. But otherwise, you could unlock it from the inside, right? So, oh my God. So I was like, slowly getting up. I don't think nobody ended up waking up. I was so quiet. I was the quietest a human being could be, waking up and not touching anything. And if anyone moved, if one of the guys moved or something, I would like stop for like a long time and make sure they were sleeping or whatever. And then I'd get the hell out of there. So, no, I remember, yeah, it started as like a crystal meditation healing or something. That's when when he started violating me and shit. But that was the excuse. I was like, oh yeah, let's do crystal meditation. I was like, oh, this is reminding me of the bad stuff. Okay, so yeah, I got out of there, and okay, so then when I was about to be up and out, I realized one of them took my jackets and was like, he was like sleeping on it or something. So I had to I was like, oh my God, should I leave my jacket here? And I was like, no, I'm not giving these guys anything of mine, even though I'd give them my passport, which is so stupid. But I was like, I'm not leaving my jacket here. Like, it's mine and I'm freaking taking it. Like, I just was like, damn. So I pulled it from under the leg and I was like, okay. So I did that fast and then I left like real quick because I was like, okay, fuck, like this jacket thing is done. Like, they're gonna wake up. So I ended up going through the door. I don't think it was locked. I like figured out how to like so quietly unlock it to get out of there. So I unlocked it and I just like, oh my God. I still have the jacket that I took. I have it. This is literally the jacket. I found this jacket at a rainbow gathering in Colorado, which I have a YouTube video of my experience there. Not of me talking about it, but just like of the actual, like a shot of the actual place. But like, I found this there and I took it. It's really cool, like American Apparel, or no, yeah, American Apparel, like neon jacket, right? I put this on the back. It's like a freaking computer pad I found at the thrift store in Ventura when I was just like traveling, living on the streets or whatever. So, yeah, very spiritual. Krishna. This is like, I think this is like an Indian god or something. So that was the jacket. And I was like, I want it. It's a cool jacket too. So I don't wear it now. I just keep it for that story, I guess. It's one video, but so after that, I was running to my freaking ashram. I had no idea where I was. So I was literally just running. I literally was running because I was like, wow, like I was so out of breath. I was running for my life. Like no cap. I was running for my life. And there's like people in golf carts or something, like, or tuk-tuks or whatever driving by. They didn't ask questions. They just looked at me and I was like, oh my God, is this guy gonna kill me? Like every second I'd be like, oh my God, I'm in the middle of the night running. Like, like, come on. Like, how dangerous is that? So I was just a walking target basically. So I ended up finding like where I was, and it was like 3 a.m. at this point. And so I ending up in the back of where my yoga class was. Because I was like, oh, I started to recognize the streets. So I just took like the back streets and stuff. And then I ended up there. And then I got to my phone and then I started texting my boyfriend. And he was like, what's going on? Like I was just like so traumatized. And he's like, it was like hard to believe. Like I didn't even I don't think anybody believed me. I don't even know. It was just crazy. So then I had yoga that morning at 4:30 and I was like, I'm up. Like I'm going to this yoga class. Like even though I think it was the last day. My birthday, it was my birthday. It was that, oh my God, dude, that was my birthday. Like that was the day of my birthday. So it was like one of the last day of classes too. And like, I like ended up going to the morning yoga at 4:30 a.m. I was like, okay, I'm just going to meditate this out and like pray to God and like a spiritual deities or whatever for like healing and like just like wow, and I like felt really bad and like, and so yeah, I did that whole morning class and I was just like hi to everybody and I was like more talkative and stuff, and like, and then like later the day ended up being fun. They're like, oh, happy birthday, and I was just like trying not to think of what happened. So yeah, that was my trip. That was a horrible experience. So after that, I ended up meeting this girl, and I actually didn't tell her about it either, but she's way older than me, and she it was from Hawaii, and she had like a husband and everything, and she was just like a crazy lady, and she was really cool and awesome, and she was like, she like ended up paying for a bunch of stuff for me. Like we decided to go traveling a little bit after the yoga stuff was done, so we like went to see the Golden Temple. We took the Indian train, which was like disgusting, and I thought I was gonna die, but she was with me, so it was fine. Because there's poop everywhere, and there's literally kids with like no legs crawling on the floor begging for money and literally picking up trash and being like, I'm cleaning up the trash, can you give me some sense? Okay, that's how it was. So, and the train smelled like poop was right here in your face the whole time, and it was an 8-hour train ride, and it was packed with people. There was literally like sardines, like there's people standing and shit. No, there's for 8 hours, so in the middle of the night. So we ended up going to the Golden Temple. We ended up seeing a bunch of that stuff and things like that, and I was with her. We ended up staying in a hotel. I think she got an Airbnb, actually. We were in an Airbnb with this family who was so nice and like spiritual and Indian. Like they were a true Indian family, and I just felt really bad being there because I was like, damn, something really bad happened to me. I had like that guilt complex, and I was like, these people don't like me because I went through something that's like really bad and wrong. And I had no choice, but they were like so nice. I felt like I didn't deserve it. Like they cooked us an amazing meal, just like they were so nice, and I was like, what the heck? So yeah, tripped around a little bit, went to see the border, blah blah blah, and then eventually I took a taxi by myself and went on my flight home. I had to buy tickets during the trip and stuff. I'm not even gonna get into like how the yoga class was, but if you guys want to know how that was, it's just like a whole nother like, oh, I'm into Kundalini yoga, are you into yoga? Like anyways, but the yoga studio that hosted that event is out of business, but I think they're still a thing, they still exist. So I was like thinking about reaching out to them because they don't know what happened to me. Like I didn't tell anyone, and oh my gosh, okay, so I just remembered an element of the story. So I went alone, okay? And the reason why I was actually like, oh, like, okay, no, oh my gosh, I remember. Okay, so that was like the last day of the ashram, right? So I didn't have a place to stay anymore because it had run out. The time had run out, and they didn't have any more rooms. They were booked. And I remember I asked a girl, and she was like, oh, you could stay with me. And I was like, okay, cool. So I had that, but then like I ended up disappearing and meeting these guys, and then I was like, oh, I don't have a place to stay anyways, so wow, okay, I guess I can stay here tonight. And that girl was probably like, where the hell is she? Like I said she could stay with me, like what's going on? And then I remember I saw her the next morning, and she was like, oh, like where were you last night? Where'd you sleep? And I was like, oh, I ended up finding a room. That's what I told her. And I was like, damn, I'm not telling her what happened, because I was just like so embarrassed. And like I was so shy, and like I didn't want to like tell them the story because then they'd like worry about me, and like that's such a stupid thing to think. But like I was so antisocial, I didn't want people to like freaking try to help me or anything, because I was like didn't have much money, and I was just like ugh. So yeah, that's that. That was a long story. It's over. It's an hour. I hope I can make this shorter than an hour, like 40 minutes. But that's my story. I don't know where my passport is at this moment in time. I have a new one already, so that one's expired. I hope my identity wasn't stolen. I don't know about it if it was. I threw away everything they gave me. What else? Yeah, so moral of the story is don't travel alone. And just, I don't know, you learn in life when you get older. Like, that's all I can say. So yeah, just be safe and I don't know, never travel alone. I'm never traveling alone in my life ever again. And if you're a woman traveling alone, you're retarded. That's the worst thing you can do. So, just saying. Just saying. If you're a guy, I guess I don't care. But if you're a girl, don't do it. So yeah. Always go with a friend. And just go with your gut instinct too. Like, I was not going with my gut because I was like, I want to challenge myself and stuff. Constantly. I was constantly challenging myself to the point of like pain, constant pain. I guess I was just like going through a bunch of stuff and it was super painful. So I was just like doing all this crazy stuff. So I'm reading, oh my God. I started Googling all this stuff and a bunch of girls got screwed with their yoga classes and stuff, like with guys being creeps. It's a case after case after case after case in India. And if I can go back and find these guys, I could draw a huge case, but they're probably honestly in jail at this point because what they were doing was so like obvious. And like, it's like they were probably caught, to be honest, because it's just like what the heck? I didn't go to anyone, obviously, because I just wrote it off and wanted to get out of there as fast as possible. So yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing in India for that to happen. It's a well-known thing. Somehow, that did not come up when I was planning the trip. Somehow, that just flew over my head. I didn't even hear one thing about women being taken advantage of in India. Not one thing. So be safe out there. And don't go to India. I don't know about Thailand. I still wouldn't go to Thailand. Not alone. Anyways, but